I wanted to do a review on my collection of Bark River Bravo 1.5 knives. I have 5 Bravo 1.5s, and that's my whole collection of them. Got the two variations. I have the regular one that's 217 on the spine thickness. Blade length is the same on all of them. It's about 5 3/4. Then I'll pull out this. This is one of the Bravo Light 1.5 Light. You can see there, 156 on the spine on all those. Same blade length, same handle style. Handles will have different thicknesses just depending on how they grind them. This one has the ramp, that one don't. All of my Bravo 1 regular thickness have ramp, both of them do, and then all my lights don't. I just got them without it. That's just what I wanted to do. So how I ended up getting 5 of them, I started out getting Bravo 1.5s the first when I first even started buying Bark River knives. That one of the first knives I ordered, and my first order was this one right here. It's the regular thickness, one of my regular thickness Bravo 1.5s. It's got a maple handle, red liners. Don't know if you can see them in there good, but anyway, it does. And so I like that knife really well. I got a Kalahari with that when I got it, and I liked it really well, and so I ordered another one to match it. Now I've got 2 sons, and my wife said, hey, why don't you get 2 knives to match the knives you like real well, so you can pass them down, one to each of them. So that's what I did, and so I always try to buy my knives in sets when I can, matching sets. So I got these 2 first as a matching set, and I really enjoyed that length of a knife for a lot of what you do, cutting across a deer tenderloin or a beef loin if you buy one, or if you cut your own beef up, or cutting a steak out of a deer's leg when you separate the muscles out and you have that big muscle. If you want to make some steaks out of that or something, that's a good length just to cut across there, just cutting stuff up or just doing different things. If you baton at all, I don't do much batoning, but it'll reach across a pretty good sized little log and stuff. So I got them 2 first, and then fast forward down the road a little bit, and they started coming out with Bravo lights. Now I'd got these 2 thicknesses, and they didn't have a Bravo 1.5 light, but they had regular Bravo length, the regular Bravo 1 length, as you see there. The difference in the 2, same handle, but this is the regular length, but it was thinner on the spine, and so I had got one of them, and I've got a couple of them now. But anyway, I was really waiting for this length to come out in the Bravo 1.5 light. If they ever come out with that, I was really waiting on it, really looking forward to it, because I like these 2 knives, and I wanted a light thickness, just that thinner one for slicing. I just thought it'd just be the right thing. So as soon as it came out, within days of them hitting, I don't remember which, if Knife Ship Free had them or who, but I got these from DLT. When they first came out, I got them from DLT Trading. So I'd had these regular thickness knives here for a little while, and that's the sheaths they came in, both of them. When these light ones, here's one of the lights, when I got them, I'd ordered my matching set of them here to match these other 2. The only difference is these have brass pins in them, but all of them, all the 4 have dark curly maple, and they have red liners. And So these, I got brass pins. That's just what was available right then. And I just got, but they both match. And then I just got this one here just as a bonus, just as a user knife for me, just with that desert ironwood handle on it. I really like that. And so I got it, and it had brass pins too. So I ordered 3 of the lights right away as soon as they hit the market from DLT, within days. Well, they came with this style of sheath like this. Now that's a Bravo 1 light, but I'm just showing you the sheath style. Has that hasp in and out like that. So I've come to like this sheath pretty good here. But when I first got it, and I first started putting these knives into that sheath, this was really tight. And they make that on purpose to hold it. This will stretch out to where you need it. But the problem, I didn't have a problem with that necessarily. But the problem I had was, and I fixed this one already, so I'm just going to tell you, right there was a big rivet that went down through this. You can see the back side of it right there that holds that on. Well, then over here it had a big round place like that. So on a maple handle, maple's not the hardest wood in the world. When you snap that hard thing down in there against that rivet right there, so I got all my knives out, put them all in the sheaths. I store my knives in the sheaths pretty much all the time. Well, I had circles on my good maple handles immediately when I pulled them right out day one. That mashed a circle there where that rivet was hitting. So I called DLT. They sent me these other sheaths. I sent them back, and they sent me the original sheaths that Bravo always had. Bravo 1.5 sheaths they had, but they only had 2 brown ones and a black one. So I don't know how many black ones they had, but they only had 2 brown ones, and so they offered me the black one, and I was glad to get it because I thought it'd make a really nice package with this knife here, and it does. So to do a further review on these things, I'll have to say that I've had a little bit of up and down on Bark River as far as their fit and finish. When you get a Bark River with a real good fit and finish, most of the time it's a real good knife, provided the steel does what it's supposed to and all that. And I can go into that a little bit later. But anyway, I kind of had hit or miss over the years a little bit. I've got 15 Bark Rivers. This is the 1.5s. I got the 5 of them. I'll slide them up and do one at a time. Okay, here's the first one I ever got. It's the one I got when I first ordered Bark River knives. And it's got good fit and finish. I'll show you any problems it does have on it. Plunge grinds is what I'm calling this right here. They're pretty even. And that's not always so on Bark Rivers. They can be horrible, but this one's a pretty good one. But the grind height just a little lower on this side. In other words, if I come out here on the end to where that flat part is and just come straight across to the other side, you can see it's just a little bit off. That means this flat part here is a little bit less than the flat part there, and so this grind is a little lower than that side. The grind's in the middle, so it's not too bad. It's good fit and finish. This handle scale on that side is just barely thinner than the other side. I don't know if you can see that on. Now I'm being picky, but there's nothing about that knife that don't work as far as working with it. And I've carved around with it, whittled a lot. I've done several things with it. So it was my first one. It's good fit and finish. Can't really complain about that one. Now this knife right here, in my mind, is absolutely perfect. Plunge grinds are even. Grinds are even side to side. If I can keep my fingernail Anyway, grind heights on both sides even. This handle right here, one thing Bark River had trouble with years later, and this was probably one a little bit earlier one. It's one of the first ones I've got. I've been getting Bark Rivers for quite a few years now. 7 or 8 years, I guess. I guess that's not as long as a lot of people's got them, but anyway, they did a real good job mating that all up right there, and that's a pet peeve of mine on them. Really nice handle, a good thickness. They didn't grind it down too far. Good fit and finish on the handle. That's my best Bark River as far as fit and finish should be that one. And if I was running out of the house, I said it on my favorite knife video. That's the one I had in there. If I was running out of the house, that's the knife I'd grab. If I could only grab one knife and was headed out of the house and the house was burning down or there was a national emergency or something. So I got these Bravo 1.5 lights, and I was so excited because the length of them and stuff, and this was several years later. I got several models of knives between the time that I got my 2 regular ones and I got these lights, and I was so excited to get these, and then I got them and I was let down by that sheath thing. Now there's not a circle in any of these knives now because just over the years it's come out, just being stored, having some humidity back and forth and maybe the heat. I can't say exactly why, but then years later when I've just pulled them out, that circle's gone, but you used to be able to see the imprint of that rivet in these handles. So there's my 2 matching set. I was disappointed with them. I kept them, but I was disappointed with Bark River. I didn't think they did the best job on these knives. And some of it could be nitpicking, but and there again, I've had these for several years and I've barely ever even cut anything with these. I just put them away and I was just saving them for a set, and I do all my cutting with this one when I want to use Bravo 1.5 light. So anyway, they got red liners. They're dark curly maple. This one's decent, but you can see the plunge grinds on there are uneven. I don't know if you can see that good, but yeah, that one over there is way further back than this one here. Didn't do too good a job on that with these. Did a decent job on the grind heights being the same. With this one here, the handle was thin. I just didn't understand why anybody made. I don't know who was grinding the knives that day, but they made this handle very thin. This is a long knife. I know it's the light. It's very long compared to the regular one. But this handle's just too thin for what I think is perfect. This one here is really too thin too, but this one here is even more. I don't know who ground them knives, why they made the handle so thin, but I was not pleased with that. But like I said, I kept them anyway. Now this one here, the handle meets up down there pretty good. And when you're looking at these knives on the website, you can see most of the time the one side of them, but you can't see both sides a lot of times, and you just have to hope that other side's got as good a figured maple and that everything lines up good. And this one lines up pretty good. Plunge grinds a little bit off on it, not too much. The plunge line right there, that one's a little further back, but not anything to complain about. This one's not real bad, but I say it's way further back for me nitpicking it. But otherwise, you know, pretty good on the blade grinds. But this right here, you can see on that side of the handle right there. I'm going to try to show you all this as close as I can, these details, if I can get it on camera. That scale right there definitely shows proud metal on down here. That's not made right there, in my opinion. Now, they've started doing that on knives lately. I say lately, over the past 5 or so years. Bark River's had some come out that just didn't come all the way down and made up like how I like them. But look at that side. It meets up a lot better down there at that end. So what's the deal? Somehow that scale is shorter on that side. Is it shorter? Well, up the top it matches up. So this knife right here, I wasn't pleased with the fit and finish overall on it, but it was kind of small stuff, and I just kept it anyway. Maybe I should have sent it back. I don't know, but I was disappointed because I'd waited for these knives and, you know, had that happen. So anyway, that on that one, I don't know what happened to that knife. It's even up here and then down through here, that's ground shorter and don't meet up down here, and I just don't know why that's acceptable to come out of quality control. And these knives cost a little over $300 when I got them each, and I ordered 3 of them. So, but I kept them. And, you know, at the time my philosophy was, well, Bark River's got the best designs. They had real good designs and all, and you know, nothing's hurting the functioning of them, and so I just kept them when I'd get them, and they'd have this and that and wrong, and you know, they said, well, they're hand ground and stuff, and anyway, so at the time that was kind of my philosophy, and I went ahead and kept them, and I hadn't really used them too good. Now here's my third one that I got at the same time, and I've used it quite a bit. I do a lot of kitchen work with this knife because the blade's a little longer. I struck a ferro rod with it the other day, actually, on a video I had just showing a ferro rod I got. Did a little batoning with it the other day. There again, every one of these Bravo lights, unlike the original Bravo's original thickness I got, that plunge grinds off like that's further back than that, and I want that to be even. Now I know they're hand ground, so you know they're not ground by a machine or something, so the height on these grinds is pretty good on this knife. I'd say it's good on them. I give it a pass on that. Scales meet up real good down there on that one. Desert hardwood handle and brass Corby bolts again. So that was that one. So I got one that I feel was, well, let me show you here too. The handle thickness is just about right on that one for my hand. It's not as thick as my favorite knife, but it's got a good thickness to it for this size of blade and this thickness of a blade. 156 for the lights. So this one here, I like this knife real good, and I use it a lot. So 2 out of 3 of them had good fit and finish as far as that's concerned. Now let's go to the next things about them. I got these knives right when they hit the market. When I was going to get them, I thought that they'd say first production run. They'd never had a Bravo 1.5 light out before, and I thought they'd put first production run on these knives. But they didn't. None of mine ever had first production run on them. And yeah, they were first production run of the Bravo 1.5 light because I got them as soon as they hit the market. I mean, I was waiting on them. So I was a little disappointed about that, and I never have really checked into why they chose not to put first production run on there. I don't know why they didn't put it. Maybe because they already had Bravo 1.5s, and this wasn't like a whole new style of knife or something. But I had thought that they'd been putting first production run on every different variation of knives, like when they had the Bravo 1 lights. I thought they had first production run ones of them, but whatever. They don't have Bravo 1.5 lights, never had first production run on them, even if you got them right away like I did. Another thing that was really funny about them, and I figured out later looking and everything, I don't know if you can see this. I'll try to show it to you on this knife. You look right down the blade there. I don't know, maybe it's not. Every one of these knives is warped. This one here, the blade goes off to the right if you're looking down it. I don't know if you can get that on there. I'll try to turn it. Maybe you can barely see it, but if you're seeing it with your eyes, you'd see that. That's warped to the right. This one here, it's warped to the left. And there again, I don't know. I mean, you got to kind of look down the blade, and it's warped to the left. You could see it really easy if you was here. And then this one here is warped to the right pretty good. Try to get an angle. It's hard to show it on video. I tried my best, but anyway, so at some point I've got to looking at them and just figured out, and I don't know if I just didn't look at them right away, but yeah, for some reason, I don't know if it's in the heat treat cycle or tempering cycle or what, but these knives are all warped, and they've been like that since I got them. And like I said, I never sent them back. I just kept them and still bought other Bark River knives. I was tempted to quit Bark River after I got these because I'd looked forward to them so much and got them right away, and you know, paid pretty good for them. And they didn't have first production run like I thought. Hey, I'm getting these and they'll have first production run. These real thin handles, and then the fit and finish things, and then having them be warped. But I'd already had them a little while before I figured all that out, and so from then on, of course, as soon as I got one of their knives, I started looking like, hey, is the blade straight and all that. And I've used this one, and it's not a thing that if you just grabbed this knife and was just using it and use it and didn't just look, you'd never even notice it. And this one's not as warped as one of the other ones. But anyway, so that's some of the problems I had with the fit and finish on them. And at that point, I thought to myself, I might not even get Bark River anymore after this, because I was just disappointed about how they'd let their quality control go down at the time. Now, I've since bought a number of Bark River knives, and what made me go back to them, I had singles of some of these knives that I'd just bought one knife over the years because I just found one knife I liked and I couldn't get a set. And so I waited till they did another run of them, and I needed to match the other knife to have my set of knives. So when I started getting some of them again, I said, well, even if their fit and finish is a little funky sometimes, I'm just going to match my sets up and go ahead and fill them on out and then be done. Well, some of them I started getting good knives again with real good fit and finish and stuff, and so I kind of, I guess, got one back over a little bit to them at that point. So anyway, that's my whole thing on the Bravo 1.5s, and that's my collection of Bark River Bravo 1.5 knives.